I'm Ash from Falling Leaves Kung Fu here in Tempe, Arizona, and because the martial art that we train is Liq Chuan, based on Zen and Tai Chi principles. So one of the questions that comes up a lot with newer students is, like, what is Zen, right? What is Zen and what does that mean and how it applies to their martial art? So for instance, or basically for us, what we're talking about when we talk about Zen is we're talking about the Zen philosophy of just being in the present moment, right? And acting based on being in the present moment. So the answer is just being here right now, because everything, you got past, present, and future, right? Most people spend most of their time either in the past or in the future. In the past, you're reliving, past memories, things that happened to you yesterday, the day before, 10 years ago, whatever. In the future, future hasn't come yet, so you're daydreaming about the future. If you're in the present moment now, it means you're observing, okay? So when you're talking about observing, then you're talking about basically, for at least as far as what we're concerned, is like a mindfulness meditation. So mindfulness meditation, you break it down into two kinds, right, or two stages. You have concentration meditation, and then you have an insight or awareness meditation. And eventually, you need both, right? But in the beginning, we have concentration, right? Okay, concentration is a process of narrowing down. Okay, concentration is a process of focusing to observe. Right? You go down to just one thing. So in a seated meditation practice, usually that'll be your breath. You'll sit and you put your attention on your breathing and try to keep the attention on the breath as long as possible. When thought comes up, you let thought go, come back to your object, which is the object of your meditation, which is the breath. Now, in say for a martial art practice, which becomes like an action meditation or a moving meditation, your object would be different things. So, for instance, like with Liq Chuan, we have what we call 13 points in the body, right? That's the reference point for how to maintain our posture to be able to act like most efficiently. So the concentration in this case will come into where you're going to focus on one of the 13 points. So, for instance, our first, or what we call the Jibun Gong, our basic exercises, is a rocking exercise to bring the attention down to the bottom of the feet, to observe what we call the center of gravity force, so how the body weight falls on your feet. So, in this case, then your object is that center of gravity force, the bottom of your feet. And then slowly you start to expand out to include the rest of the body, that how the effect that when you change as you rock with the center of gravity force, how that affects the body, how it becomes tense, how it relaxes. Then it's starting to open up into like an awareness, right, as a bigger picture. So with the concentration, again, focusing down, you observe one thing. And like I said, with the martial art practice for Liq Chuan, it can be different concepts, different principles that you're focusing on one thing at a time. And with the awareness, you start to open up. Insight is a little bit different. It's more of a specialized practice, but at least in this case, when we're talking about then you're opening back up to include more than just one single object, right? It's the conditions. And with the martial art, usually it ends up coming down to that we're talking about either full or empty. A lot of everything in the martial art can come down to full or empty. I'm full, I have defense. I'm empty, I don't have defense. Or where my opponent is empty, I attack. That kind of thing. So then it can go like exercise by exercise. We have, for instance, in Liq Chuan, we have 15 basic exercises, and then we have our partner training, spinning a sticky hand. So with this type of concept behind it, that you're training to observe. From observing, then you can recognize, right? But before you can observe, first you have to be present. present, then you can observe. From observing, then you can recognize. When you recognize, you know. So, for instance, my Sifu, he likes to say, if you think, you don't know. If you know, you don't think. The answer is already obvious of what move or what technique you need to do. And again, a lot of that for martial art purpose ends up coming down to recognizing full or empty. But before you can recognize full and empty, again, first you have to be able to observe. To be able to observe, first you have to be in the moment. Okay, so this is just kind of a basic idea of how you can start to apply some Zen philosophy to martial art training. I hope that helped. If you want to find out more, if you're in Tempe or if you're in the Arizona area, you can check us out at fallingleafskungfu.com. Worldwide is eliquchuan.com. You look down in the notes below, you'll find a link to the websites, and look forward to talking to you in the future.